On today's Minute of the Apes, we still haven't decided if apes can eat chocolate yet or not.
They greenlit the sequel without a story in mind. They just wanted to equal an unexpected gold mine. He said, oh no, as Heston said, I got to go. These are just some of the facts you ought to know as we go. Beneath the Minute of the Apes. Beneath the Minute of the Apes. Beneath the Minute of the Apes.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. I've got Sean and Richard.
Yayo.
Here we go with minute 27 on a Tuesday. Fellas, how are we?
I'm doing all right.
Doing great.
Tuesday. I know.
Tuesday.
So I work from home day. All right.
Is it really?
I work from home on Tuesday.
I want to work from home on Tuesdays. Can I start doing that? Will you approve that?
What job do you want to do?
I don't care.
Yeah.
Anything but what I'm doing.
You want to work from my home on Tuesday?
Yes.
I'll give you some stuff to do. All right.
Go ahead, Sean. Tell us what's going on.
Minute 27 with Zero saying, tell us, and ends with Zero telling Brent she wouldn't know if she told him.
Let's cue up the clip and play it.
Tell us. Where? I don't know where. I'm trying to find him. The longer I stay around here, the less I'm beginning to care.
Oh, now, we loved Taylor. He was a unique specimen. Why, if it had not been for Zira here, he would still be here. A stuffed specimen in the Great Hall of the Zayas Museum with his two friends.
With his two friends? Well, I don't plan to stay around here quite that long. Look, can you get me some food, some water? A map, so at least I'll have some idea where I'm heading.
You want that taken care of, too?
I'll get the map. Now, if you will look up here, yes, towards the north, this was the last place that we saw Taylor and Noah.
Ah! What is that damn stuff?
You wouldn't know if I told you.
As of minute 27, we have 3 living humans, 4 dead humans, 1 dead ape, and a shoeness of apes, and a gaggle of humans.
And no cake.
And no cake.
She was stopped from making that cake.
And no bloopers at all.
She's going to go back and eat that icing on her own. That's what it is. This
It's
is
in the
all a bit of
bowl.
ruse. She's just going to go over and lick the... Do they have spatulas? We know they have icing.
They have a wooden spoon is what they
Oh, is it
using
wooden
to
spoon?
mix, yeah.
God, wooden spoons are so gross. I'm sorry.
All right, so we're getting some weird... Why do you have a problem with wooden spoons? Hang on, I need to back this up. I was getting into this, and what's your problem with wooden
I just
spoons?
always... It's something about the porous nature of a spoon, and you're sticking it in liquids and stuff like that. Just kind of grosses me out.
That's
He's
called,
a spoonist.
That's called... you're flavoring it. You're making it taste so much... It's like a...
Because I'm bringing all the different things I've cooked over the centuries.
It's like a cast iron pot that's getting flavored with
It's
all
sort
the
of like not
oil.
washing your hands, Sean, and eventually, all I'm doing is bringing
And
the
I just
textures
rub
of the
it all
world.
over my bald
Oh,
head and
gross.
just make it greasy.
Gross.
On this week of Minute of the Apes, we find out all of Todd's unusual
That's fine. Let's go
house
for it.
domesticity issues.
Let's go for it.
All right, so we on this minute we finally get the meeting between Brent and Cornelius, where Cornelius is calling Taylor a specimen. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
So I have a question. If you had just landed, right, and you had
You said Landon, not
okay. If you're Brent, if you're Brent,
Okay.
and your spaceship had crashed,
All right.
and their skipper died, and you run
strange
across
female on a horse picks you up.
and you now know her name, right?
Yeah, I
he
guess
should
so.
know her name now,
Yeah.
because Zira
That's
calls
a
her
good
Nova.
point.
Yeah. He should know her name.
He finally knows
All
her
the
name.
names are on the table now.
All the names are out there, and she leads you to this random monkey village,
Albuquerque.
They tell you, Taylor was the only one who could talk other than the other two, right? Brings up the other two.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm trying to find him. The longer I'm here, the less I'm beginning to care. And I just found it interesting that his mission is not the spaceship. His mission is not anybody else in the spaceship except Taylor.
That's the only one.
That is true.
Taylor is the
Not
priority.
Stewart,
for,
not
Stewart.
Landon.
Not Landon.
Not anybody.
No,
Yeah.
it's because he's his doppelganger, and he had to go back in time to find him.
He's got to kill him.
Ooh.
But granted,
He's space future
granted he
Hitler.
saw the dog tags with Taylor on it, so he
Right.
knows Taylor is a possible quest to go on. But it's just fascinating that that's what he's kind of latched onto as a thing that he has to find. Not the spaceship. I mean, where's the other spaceship? There might be something there for him.
So this minute is an example, again, of, to me, how poorly thought out this entire film is.
Yeah.
Because where they talked, where we hear that James Franciscus wanted to rewrite it because Brent would just be reiterating points.
Right.
This whole minute serves no other function than to establish him in this world that we already know, to say names of things just like that. Taylor, he needs to find him. The most revelatory thing we get in this moment is that basically, if not for Zero, that Taylor would be with his friends in the Zaius Museum. That's the only real new information, is that museum is the Zaius Museum or the Zaius Ward or something like that.
So yeah, that was the
That's where they have dodge and land and stuff.
Right.
Cornelius says we love Taylor. What I found interesting about Cornelius saying we love Taylor, it was a very warm loved. The way the what's the actor's name? Do you remember? He really kind of, we love Taylor. He was a fine, unique specimen.
Oh, Taylor?
And Cornelius genuinely sounded like Cornelius genuinely sounded like he had a very strong affection for Taylor, something grander than just an experiment. It's not like they had faith and trust. It was kind of interesting.
Which is not consistent with what the relationship was before. There was they cared, they were interested more than anything.
And I don't
want
want
to say
almost had nothing to do with Taylor during the whole movie.
Well,
if you think about it, until the very end.
And if Roddy
David
McDowell
Watson,
Roddy McDowell had been doing this particular role, his tone might have been different for that. We love Taylor. He was a fine, unique specimen. It just sounded very warm. I was like, I was touched by
that.
It.
Would have come Zero. That would have come more heartfelt from Zero than from Cornelius.
Exactly. So if you go back to Planet of the Apes, they had all the interaction where she would touch his hand, that I kept joking about, that she wanted him. They wanted some human monkey love, but Cornelius was never that way. Now, something has transpired between the first movie and this one, whether that is the eradication of the charges against them or that they found marital love, whatever it is. Now they've decided to,
or plot wise, they just cut it out. Who knows?
Or something. It becomes more convenient for them to revere their relationship with Taylor than what was there before.
The next note in the script, why Cornelius says, "Why, if it had not been for Zero, he'd still be here, a stuffed specimen in the Great Hall with the Zaius Museum, like his two friends." And the note for Cornelius here is to say passionately about that particular line. So that might have where he got that warmth from.
True. So I'm sorry, the script does note that as passionately.
Passionately, but not the line before. That line right there, specifically about the Zaius Museum.
Okay.
What did we learn about this? The Zaius Museum.
Right.
Zaius is so important in the society that the museum is named after him.
Which makes it interesting when, because in the coming minutes we get a little more Zaius information. Zaius' role has changed from the first film to this one. He was such a prevalent person that they're naming the museums and the scientific data after him. It seems as though, and I'm just peppering this out there because of the coming minutes we can discuss it, but it seems as though something has occurred.
That he's lessened or something?
Yeah, that he's somehow negated, in my opinion. Something has happened to change that hierarchical
when you look at the
situation.
first movie, Zaius was kind of the antagonist of everything that was going on.
Right.
We moved to this movie, and we've got somebody else that's taken that role, and that's Ursus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we're put in this bind with Zaius that he's got to be something in between those things. He can't be the hero, right? But he also can't be a villain, or can he be a villain still?
He's not supposed to be Ursus. He's supposed to be us, maybe?
Okay, but to me, changing Zaius in this is almost akin to that if you came to The Empire Strikes Back and Darth Vader was somehow a little passive. And he came in, well, hang on.
Well, that's a good point, yeah.
Just leave him alone. If anything, he should be so over the top that he should be the one giving the speeches, and I've put Ursus as my right hand. We are no longer,
You would imagine, yeah.
It needs to be almost like the ascension, and for the lack of Hitler in Germany, whenever that ascension occurs because of the degradation of their society, and he's able to step in and do these kind of things, you would almost think that Zaius would have followed that same trajectory, and it just seems very odd that this film has all but pushed him aside to put Ursus as the new nemesis.
Right. Well, we do get this edition of the Zaius Museum, which I'm not even sure it was never named.
Not in the first movie, no.
So somebody put it in there. They decided the museum was actually called after Zaius, establishing his role as Minister of Science.
Mm-hmm.
What I found interesting about the next moment is Brent kind of mumbles with his two friends, and he has a moment of realization, and he goes, "I don't plan to stay quite that long." But there was no. I made the note realization, but he did not give me any.
Well, there's no weight to that comment. The fact that he's talking about
exactly
two friends. So I have Brent is surprised by 2 friends. Shouldn't he care that there are actually 4 people? So technically, there's one that's not accounted for, Stewart.
Yeah.
Although Brent doesn't know that she's dead. So why is he only caring about 2 of the people? And which 2 of the people is he caring about? The 2 white guys, not the black guy and the female. I mean, why does he only care about 2 people? Not everybody on this mission that went there.
But the use of the 2 friends, I don't plan to stay that long. He just the actor did not seem to give me the weight of that realization. You see it in his eyes, you hear it in the dialogue, but I don't get the weight that he realizes that Taylor is the only thing that he has. Because at this point, up until this moment, Brent should still be wondering if Landon and Dodge and Stewart are still around as well.
Yeah.
He just found
he found the dog tags. That's it. He doesn't know they're dead.
He should assume that everybody else is with Taylor.
Or somewhere, because she's been riding around, the Nova has been riding around with this dog tags on. Why did she know her tags?
Oh, she ate him. I mean,
so
I don't
it took
know.
us 27 minutes.
It took us...
and I don't do this to pick on your point, but it took us 27 minutes to get to the point that James Franciscus is no Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston may be cheesy, but you never doubted the quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes, complexity of Charlton's performance. You did.
With his 2 friends,
he hated.
I don't plan to stay quite that long.
Yeah, there would have been. It's much more of the James T. Kirk approach to acting, which the pauses come and they do that.
Yeah,
but there's none of that.
Time for love, Dr. Jones.
But what Franciscus brings is much more. Oh, I'm not doing that.
Well, the next point where he says
he pulled a Harrison Ford hang.
The next point where he says, "Look, give me some food, some water, and a map." Well, to where?
You mean more than the food that I've already been eating?
He wants a map to what?
Yeah.
Now
that's a good point. He never specifies what he wants.
Well, he wants to get off this planet.
I mean, he says he's looking.
Is there a map to get off the planet?
He says he's looking for Taylor.
Todd. It's
right?
that way to map off the planet.
He establishes that he wants to find Taylor.
Right.
He establishes that he needs a map. I don't know what he needs the map where into. Now, what he should be saying is, "Oh my God, that was some freaky shit back in that arena.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get out of this fucking place. You guys are nuts.
Yeah.
Well,
I cannot be here. Give me a map. Let me get out."
Well, let's step it back. Let's be quite honest. He should be saying, "How are you monkeys talking in front of me? What the is going on?"
Well,
but
that's the first time he's actually encountered a non-human directly face to face, and the first thing he's like, "I want some more food. Where's Taylor?"
Well, and
he's not going, "How are you talking?"
But to both of those points, we go back to Franciscus again. Did not want to just reiterate what had already been said in the first movie. And what does he do? He's reacting to the information from the first movie. I got to get out of here. If anything, why isn't he upset because he saw gorillas who are arming themselves? You're absolutely right. He should be commenting, what have the humans done? Why are they, he should be commenting about the action from this film, but he's not.
Right.
He's not taking the new information and talking about that narrative.
I would be asking those questions. Okay, cool. So what happened to Taylor? Where did he go? What's going on? What's happening here?
Right.
Is there a place that I can get? Do you know where his space? I
How
want to know where the spacecraft is.
Right. Cut to the chase and tell me the information right now so I can survive.
How do I get off this fucking nutso planet?
And by the way, the chick over there is really hot eating the apples. Can I take her with me? Because you know that's what he's thinking, just like Taylor did.
So he says in a map, at least I have some idea where I'm heading. And then Zero notices his arm.
His arm, where she can just basically get a damp cloth and wipe it off, and he'll be fine. But anyways,
I honestly think that this moment, I kind of wonder. Well, I can't talk about the next minute yet.
Well, you can.
While we're there, you go ahead. You have a point you want to get to. Sean, don't let me forget coming back to the wound.
We're coming back to the wound.
Thank you.
Right, I got you.
So Cornelius goes to get the map.
We're pointing at wounds.
And then he mentions, now if you'll look up here towards the north, this is the last place we saw Taylor and Nova,
which is the Statue of Liberty.
But we're now establishing for Brent that Taylor and Nova were, as companions, were together, were going in a direction.
Right.
So that's something that is basically being told to Brent, as opposed to Brent asking, which is what should have happened.
Yes. And I was waiting for the realization when they said, this is where we last saw them. we're here and